There's a difference between being alone and being disconnected. Maybe you live alone and you say you're independent. And maybe no one calls and you brush it off like it doesn't bother you. But here's what happens when that silence stretches for too long. Your nervous system starts reading the absence of voices, touch, and interaction as danger. The body, which evolved to be around others, doesn't understand solitude as peaceful. It reads it as abandonment, and in response it turns on your stress hormones subtly and steadily. Cortisol rises, your heart beats harder, your immune system drops a few gears. And all of this weakens you, even if you think you're fine. Over time, your body actually begins to shut down functions that are only necessary when we're in community. Digestion slows, immunity drops, even your mental alertness starts to fade. You become more vulnerable to illness, to accidents, to depression. Not because you're broken, but because you're alone. Humans don't thrive in isolation. Even the quietest among us need some thread of connection to stay alive in spirit and in body. So no, you're not just alone. You're slowly disappearing from the world you still belong to, and you don't have to. A short phone call, a coffee with someone once a week, or a hobby group, even just a chat with the grocery store clerk, can reignite that spark that tells your body, I'm still part of something. Don't drift away. Come back. When you're over 70, there's a seductive lie that creeps in. That staying still is somehow preserving you. That resting all day is what your body needs. But the truth, that stillness isn't rest, it's surrender. The human body was built to move, not run marathons or lift heavy weights necessarily, but to walk, to stretch, to bend, to reach, to use itself. Every time you stay sitting for too long, your muscles shrink, your joints stiffen, your circulation slows, and your heart gets lazy. You might say, but I'm tired. Of course you are. Inactivity breeds fatigue. The less you move, the more your body forgets how to move. And even simple things like walking to the bathroom become draining. You're not tired because you're old. You're tired because you've stopped asking your body to participate in life. And here's the scary part. Once that slope starts, it accelerates fast. One skipped walk leads to weaker legs. Weaker legs lead to instability. Instability leads to a fall. And a fall, that could be the beginning of the end. But there's good news. You don't need to run a 5K to reverse this. You just need to move. Stand up once an hour, do arm circles during commercials, walk around your kitchen, tell your body, I still need you. Because if you don't give it a reason to stay strong, it won't. And rest, true rest, the kind that restores you, only comes after movement, not instead of it. Loneliness isn't just a passing mood, it's a biological stress state. Feeling like no one understands you anymore, like your best days are behind you and everyone else has moved on. That doesn't just weigh on your heart, it damages your body. Research has proven over and over that chronic loneliness raises the risk of death more than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. 15. Loneliness messes with your hormones, inflames your body, and scrambles your immune response. You sleep worse, you eat worse, you care less about everything, including yourself. And unlike being physically alone, emotional loneliness can happen even when you're surrounded by people. It's the feeling that no one really sees you, that your voice doesn't matter anymore. And here's the cruel part. When you start feeling that way, you're more likely to pull away, to stop calling people, to stop saying yes. Which only makes the feeling worse. It's a vicious cycle. But you can break it. Connection doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need dozens of friends or loud parties. One honest conversation, one person who listens, one moment where you feel heard. That can change your brain chemistry, your mood, your very biology. Don't convince yourself it's too late. It isn't. People still care, but you have to meet them halfway. Loneliness will kill you slowly if you let it. Connection will save you if you let yourself be seen. Sleep is often treated as optional, something to get around to, something we make room for after everything else is done. But especially after age 70, sleep is no longer a luxury. It becomes a lifeline. And if that lifeline frays, the damage starts showing up fast. The body's entire rhythm, known as the circadian cycle, depends on consistency. This internal clock governs not just when we sleep and wake, but how well we digest, how stable our mood is, how strong our memory stays, and even how our heart behaves. But when you stay up watching television until 2 a.m., line up randomly throughout the day, or toss and turn in the dark while your mind runs laps, your body gets confused. It doesn't know when to produce melatonin, when to release cortisol, when to repair tissue, or when to flush toxins from your brain. The result is deeper than tiredness. It's cognitive decline, mood swings, high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and increased risk of dementia and stroke. And these aren't rare possibilities. They're statistically significant outcomes linked directly to disordered sleep. You might think, I've always been a night owl, or it's normal to sleep less as I get older. But there's a difference between needing less sleep and getting poor quality sleep. Many seniors don't actually sleep less, they just sleep worse and more chaotically, and their bodies suffer. Picture Eleanor, 76, who stayed up scrolling her phone in bed drinking coffee at 5 p.m. because she felt sluggish, then wondering why she was wide awake at midnight. She thought it was harmless. But within a year, her blood pressure was unpredictable. Her energy came in erratic waves, and she began forgetting appointments. Her doctor didn't prescribe a pill. He gave her a sleep schedule. He told her to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, no exceptions, to avoid screens an hour before bed, to dim the lights and limit caffeine after lunch. And the change wasn't subtle. Within weeks, Eleanor had more clarity, better balance, even a lighter mood. Her body stopped fighting itself and began to repair. That's the real secret. Sleep is when healing happens. If your nights are chaotic, your body doesn't get a chance to fix what the day damaged. It's like never taking your car to the mechanic. Things start to break down, quietly at first, then all at once. So the next time you brush off your scattered sleep as just one of those things, remind yourself this isn't harmless. It's not a quirk. It's a warning light. And the sooner you take it seriously, the more time and strength you'll gain back. There's a big difference between enjoying your own company and disappearing into silence. Too many older adults, especially after loss, retirement, or major life shifts, begin to pull inward, slowly, almost imperceptibly. They stop calling friends, stop attending birthdays, stop sharing their thoughts or opinions. At first, it looks like peaceful solitude, but over time it becomes something darker, emotional withdrawal. It's not about needing quiet, it's about giving up. A quiet person still smiles, still connects, still looks out the window with curiosity. But someone who has withdrawn begins to dim, to fade, to live as if the world no longer includes them. And the body takes note. Emotional disengagement starts to show up physically. Decreased immunity, lower appetite, less motivation to move or care for oneself. The mind becomes less sharp, the days less distinct, and the most heartbreaking part, most people around them don't even notice at first, because it doesn't look like depression. It looks like someone keeping to themselves. But inside, a deeper surrender is happening. Take Richard, 80, who lost his wife 2 years ago. At first he said he just needed time, then he stopped answering his children's calls, then he skipped his grandson's graduation. He told himself he just didn't feel like talking. He didn't realize that his silence was becoming a slow resignation. His health began to suffer, not from disease but from disconnection. His doctor told his daughter that physically he could live another decade. But emotionally he was fading, and his body was following suit. Compare that to Thomas, 78, also widowed. He wasn't overly social, but he made a point to text his grandkids every week, go to the library's book club once a month, and invite a neighbor over for coffee now and then. He had something to look forward to, a reason to get dressed, a reason to stay alert. Engagement is not about being bubbly or outgoing. It's about having threads that keep you tied to the world. Once you stop caring, your body hears that, and eventually it stops trying too. There comes a point in life, often after 70, sometimes even earlier, where the conversation quietly shifts from how long you'll live to how well you'll live. And it's at this point, more than any other, that we need to understand the difference between merely accumulating time and actually inhabiting life. Because while medicine can keep your heart beating, only your choices can keep your spirit awake. Too many people drift through their later years as if life has slowly closed the door on them. And so they stop knocking, they stop showing up, they stop caring. Not always because they want to, but because the days start to blur, energy fades, and the world begins to feel like it's moving without them. They confuse routine with meaning, safety with vitality, and resignation with peace. But aging is not the end of the story. It's the final chapter you get to write with full awareness. And you still get to choose what kind of story it is. Yes, the body changes. Yes, there are losses. Yes, grief and fatigue and illness all take their toll. But none of that erases the fact that every single day you wake up, no matter your age, health, or circumstance, you have the power to participate in life, not just watch it pass. Choosing life doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It doesn't mean being endlessly cheerful or forcing yourself into exhausting activities. It means staying engaged, even in small ways. It means putting your hands in the soil to plant something. It means calling someone you love just to hear their voice. It means reading a new book, learning a new recipe, or simply deciding, I will get up and I will try again today. Choosing life means fighting against the slow creeping disengagement that comes when the world assumes you're done. And telling the world, no, I'm not done. I still matter. I still have something to offer. Too often, society views aging through a lens of decline, as if older adults should quietly shrink into the background. But the truth is, the later years are ripe with potential. You have more wisdom, more clarity, more freedom to say what matters, and to let go of what doesn't. You've survived so much already. That strength alone is a form of power. And while you may not have as much time left as you once did, you do have a choice in how that time is spent. Will it be in quiet resignation, simply waiting out the clock? Or will it be in presence, choosing to connect, create, and continue living with intention? Because here's the honest truth. There is no magic pill for vitality, no perfect diet, no single routine. The real secret to longevity isn't just found in what you eat or how much you move. It's found in the spark. That little inner light that says, I still care. That spark is what keeps the mind alert, the immune system strong, and the heart open. When that spark dims, through isolation, inactivity, or emotional withdrawal, the body follows. But when you feed that spark, even gently, even imperfectly, you're choosing life. Not just existence, not just time on a calendar, but life full of color, depth, connection, and purpose. So if you find yourself sitting in silence too often, if you've let your days become vague and repetitive, if you've stopped reaching out or stopped reaching inward, pause. Ask yourself, have I started to disappear? And then take one small action to return, to rejoin, to re-engage. Because life, no matter how much of it remains, still belongs to you. You are not done. You are not invisible. You are not irrelevant. Choose life. Fiercely, gently, courageously. Not just for the sake of time, but for the sake of meaning.